I'm Van Sebastian, here with my co-host S.A. Baz Collins for this week's Written on the Edge, Season 8, Episode 52 interview. We'll be talking with A.E. Lister and discussing their book, A Port Essington Christmas, among other works. So, let's get to know our guest. Alison Lister is a Canadian non-binary author. They write graphic erotic romance, contemporary, historical, and paranormal as A.E. Lister, and sweet young adult LGBTQ plus romance as Alison Lister. Alison, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And I love that you have split your two genre focuses or foci between the two names because that often helps readers find the one that they're more interested in.
Yeah. I was a little concerned that the young adult readers might, they can find me if they really look for me, but I didn't want to make it easy just in case some of the parents were looking into it.
Yep, fair. All right. Well, so where did the passion to write come from? I mean, that's a huge step in life.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been writing since I was 14. Uh, Fan fiction before there was fan fiction or before I knew about
Nice.
it. I mean, yeah, we barely had a computer. So I was handwriting fan fiction about Han Solo and Indiana Jones and kinky
Wait,
stuff
Because
even back
you do.
then.
Yeah,
Han
exactly.
Solo and Indiana Jones
Way back
together?
then. No, but if I'd had the idea, yes.
Because I'm like, isn't that just self-love at that point?
Yeah. No, but it was always with a woman in the picture,
Mm,
but because I didn't have the capacity to think, oh, what if it was two men?
hmm.
Even though at that age I probably would have loved that as well.
Yeah.
Because I already we didn't have the words non-binary and gender fluid in those days,
Hmm.
but I definitely, like, looking back on it,
Yeah.
that
And I
was
think
what I
that's the
was,
part
right?
that I think most people don't get about whole gender stuff is that well, why are we talking about it now? No, it existed. We just didn't have the
Exactly.
vocabulary. The vocabulary had
Exactly.
to catch up.
Exactly. And I'm the same person I always was. And
Right.
luckily, I didn't really give a shit what other people thought.
Yeah.
So I was myself. And I can remember my dad laughing because I borrowed his wedding jacket blazer. And that was my uniform. I wore that to school all the time with high top sneakers,
Nice.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
short, spiky hair, and I felt so comfortable in it. I even wore the fedora. My husband teases me about that. I wore the Indiana Jones fedora, and I was like, I don't care. And I never really was into the girly stuff. And
Hmm.
with all the dialogue that's come out over the past, 10, 20 years, it's really allowed me to fulfill that identity, I guess you could say, and feel
Awesome.
validated because I did feel those things. And yeah, it's fantastic. And I think it's great. And I have a non binary child as well. And
Nice.
it's hilarious though, because I'm trans masc and they are trans femme. So I still sometimes I struggle with how to
You're
support them.
checking all the
Mom,
boxes.
I know, Mom, can you find me a cute skirt? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't, that's not something I usually look for. So it's pretty funny.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. Well, you have a new release out, the Northern Horizon series,
Yeah.
called A Port Essington Christmas. So before we talk about the new novel, let's tell people what the series is about.
Okay, so it's a historical series set in Western Canada in 1906 to 1908. And it was actually inspired by watching my daughter play Red Dead Redemption 2 during the pandemic.
Nice.
I don't do video games. I never did video games. I can't play them. But during the pandemic, I wanted to engage with my kids in a conscious way because our sleep schedules were completely different. I'm a morning person. During the pandemic, they were staying up late, gave them some fun, right? So I was an hour every day. I would watch each of them play their favorite video game. And Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't know if you've played it or seen it.
I've seen it. I haven't played it.
It's almost like watching a movie, especially if you're watching somebody play it.
Hmm.
So it put me in that time period. And Arthur Morgan he's the main character, and he's an incredibly vibrant character. But he never gets any love. He never gets any sex. He's amazing. And so my character of Jimmy is very much inspired by Arthur. And he is also an ex-outlaw, but I don't spend a lot of time looking into his past because he has decided to, mend his ways and try and find the life that he wants.
Hmm.
But I didn't know if I could write a historical. And I would never have tried, I don't think, if I hadn't been watching her play Red Dead Redemption 2 expertly, might I add.
Nice.
Yeah. And it just really, I kept every day I'd watch her and I just feel like I was in that time period. So I thought, well, what the hell, I'll try it. And I loved writing the first book, which is 760 miles.
Woohoo.
Oh,
And I love
yay.
these covers. I love
Yeah.
these covers so much. Really evokes the vibe that I
Hmm.
wanted. And then, so that was the first one. I wasn't sure I could do it. I did it. And it seemed to be fairly well received. And then I went on to write Repentance and Absolution. I'll show off these covers because they're so
Yes, they're
pretty.
gorgeous.
And Return to Telegraph Creek.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, and then A Port Essington Christmas is just as beautiful, but it's not in paperback because it's short. So it's only probably, I think it's only going to be an ebook.
I will make sure Baz flies the digital artwork right there.
Yes, exactly. So Jimmy is transporting goods for a person who lives, for a man who lives in uh, the Yukon, Dawson City, right? Which is
Nice.
post the gold rush. So it's kind of falling, it's becoming really scummy because
But it's
everybody who was there for the gold rush has gone on to Alaska.
but it's not a ghost town yet.
It's not a ghost town, no. So there's still people living there.
Hmm.
And so when he arrives to drop off the groceries, he sees this young guy who seems to be like a vagrant, right? Like homeless. So he ends up offering him like a meal because he feels so bad. They keep him running into each other, and well, actually, he finds him outside of like a body house, and he's ready. He's about ready to go in and see what he can offer because he's that desperate.
I don't know what a body house is. I'm sorry.
Okay, like a whorehouse.
Got it.
Okay, but I didn't want to actually have him do that because I really like positive representations of queerness.
Hmm.
So I just stopped at that. But so Jimmy sort of rescues him and offers him a meal and to stay in his hotel. But no, like he thinks he's straight at this time. And so there's the journey of he's attracted to Oscar, but he's trying to pretend he's not. Oscar is very much, he knows who he is and what he wants, and he's kinky. But somebody slandered him, his reputation in town, and so he's been shunned basically. So Jimmy has to go back to Whitehorse. Oscar wants to go and find out if his uncle is alive who lives in Port Essington, which is farther than Whitehorse. And Jimmy says, well, come with me. At this point they've already realized there's a mutual attraction. Jimmy's trying to come to terms with that, and it's just a really cute story with the stern gruff cowboy guy being the one that's off center and surprised by this younger guy who knows exactly
Who they
what
are. Yeah.
what to do, right?
Right.
I
Right.
love the flip of the
So
trope. I love it.
yeah. So they're camping out, and there's an encounter with Jimmy's some of the ex-outlaws that he used to run with, which is a bit scary. There's like crossing rivers, and they end up on horseback. First, they have a wagon, but it's very much an adventure romance. And for me, I always think of it as a slow burn because even though they do have sex early on in the book,
Hmm.
the emotional part is the slow burn part,
Mm.
Yep.
right? Because Jimmy's thinking, oh my God, like this can't be, this is just like, why am I feeling this way? Two men can't be romantic together, it's just sex and I shouldn't do it anymore, sort of thing. But he always does. He can't fight Oscar. So he can't fight his feelings for Oscar.
Right. Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So chronologically, does it fall fourth in place? Because it sounds like the main character has had three books already. He hasn't
Yeah,
discovered
yeah. So
yet.
it follows that couple. It
Okay.
follows Jimmy and Oscar through all three books.
Okay.
So I don't want to try not to do spoilers, but they do end up he does end up taking Oscar all the way to Port Essington because by the time they get to Whitehorse, they know that Jimmy knows he's in love with this guy.
Hmm.
And So he takes them to Port Essington, and they see if the uncle is still there, and blah blah. Anyway, so then the second book is about trying to set up a life in Port Essington, because by the time they get there, Jimmy's like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to go back to Whitehorse and to my job. I don't care. I'll just throw the job and stay with Oscar in Port Essington. So yeah, anyway, the second book is finding a life there, and I've said it's kind of like a cross between Brokeback Mountain and Little House on the Prairie. Which it is, because I loved Little House on the Prairie, and it's that sort of that time period. There's no electricity in Port Essington yet.
Okay,
Like,
so
it's
like my
very
70s
much.
and 80s childhood just went boing.
Yes, exactly. And also, like, the ending of Brokeback Mountain killed me. I hated it, right? Like, I was like, come on, guys. So this way I've got some cowboys who do find love and do find a way to live the life they want, and who cares what other people think. You know, they do have to keep it a secret from most people, but even in all three books, they do find other queer people who are also, well, some of them aren't keeping it as much of a secret because they are in a body house. But then there's other people that they meet in Port Essington who are living their lives, and just people in those days, people, I don't think, asked too many questions, right? They just took you at face
Yeah.
value,
Yeah, it's that
right?
whole I only need to know what I need to know
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Very, very nice.
and I very much wanted to talk about that in my books too, about how queer people have been here all along, and they have found ways to
Right.
love
And
and
in greater numbers than people perceive.
oh yeah,
Right.
for sure, for sure.
Right. All right. Anything else about the book you want people to know before I move on to another famous author who has influenced you?
Oh yes, let me just, so A Port Essington Christmas, I just wanted to say, so that's a short novella, so it's cheaper. It's about the price of a fancy coffee. And I love it so much. I didn't plan to write it, but last Christmas I thought, you know what, I want to write, and it's sort of an extended epilogue, because Return to Telegraph Creek, they have to go to Telegraph Creek to help some friends out, and then so that book ends, the final book ends right when they get back to Port Essington,
Okay.
and it shows them seeing the friends that they've left there, and that's all good, everything's good, okay. But I wanted to do a little bit of how great their lives are, I guess, in Port Essington. So I wrote that last Christmas, showed it to my publisher. She said, yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to end the series. And it's also a standalone, so you can actually enter the series through
Mm.
that book as well. There'll be a little bit of spoilers, but hopefully you'll be intrigued enough by the characters that you'll go back and start at the beginning.
Right. I
Nice.
mean, it's just funny, I've never been a big one about spoilers, because for me, I still want to see the journey,
Same,
because
same.
the gems are really, it's almost like, well, like Hitchcock used to say, the MacGuffin, the thing that you think it's about often is not what it's about. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right,
And
right.
so it's often the discovery of what the characters go through to
Yes,
get to whatever end is on the horizon. And I think
exactly.
I think people put a lot of weight on spoilers. Now, I understand it from like a murder mystery kind of thing. Okay,
Yep,
that is definitely, you do
for
not
sure.
give people spoilers. But for other types of genre, I think, people just should get comfortable with, okay, well, I know that part's going to happen, but I don't know how it's going to happen
That's
or
right. That's right.
why it's
And
going to happen.
what I always say to my kids, because they make fun of me because I will read spoilers before every movie we watch. I'm a little squeamish, so I want to know what I'm getting into.
Right. Well, yeah,
I
there's
don't
that
like
aspect.
I don't
Hmm.
like extreme violence.
Hmm.
Um, so they'll make fun of me, but I always say I want to see how the story is told. I don't care if I know what some of the
Right.
story is. I want to see how it's told.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's the writer in us that
Maybe.
is
Yeah.
that aspect, because we also enjoy construction.
Yep.
We
And
like
skill.
seeing the skeleton, the bones, as well as
Yeah.
the flesh
Yeah.
that's in between. So yeah, I've always kind of liked when I meet fellow authors who are like, spoiler. Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
don't mind. Like,
But
I'll
let me
read.
find out about
Yeah,
them.
exactly. I'll read the third or fourth book in a series, and if I like it, I'll go and read the whole series, you know?
Hmm. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. 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 So you've been blogging a lot about vampires.
Yes.
um, And it looks like Anne Rice influenced your vampires.
Yes, I'm sure she did. Yeah, like I read Interview with the Vampire probably in my late teens, I would say. My older brother read that one, and then I went on to read The Vampire Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have read the third one. I didn't read the whole thing as she wrote
Yeah,
them over the
yeah. The
years.
12 books that are now
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of the Grand
yeah.
Chronicles. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that book influenced me a lot, and the subtext of homoerotic love between Lestat and Louis, I mean that was there, and I saw it, and I'm sure a lot of other people saw it too. And of course, in my head, I'm imagining, what they're doing together because that I've always been drawn to that,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so
Well,
and I mean,
I like the fact that, in the new iteration of the series, they're not
yes, oh my
playing
God,
footsie with it. They're just saying
exactly.
it is. This
I
is
Yep.
what
mean,
it's been all
yeah,
along.
yeah. I mean, I was blown away by the performances and the way that they changed quite a bit of the detail around Louis' character.
Mm-hmm.
But the atmosphere and the music
It
and the
works.
setting, oh my God, like the production values are wonderful. And
Yeah.
Sam Reed as Lestat, like I didn't know, I thought I was too old to have like a really massive crush on somebody, but like on a movie personality, but oh my God, like he's amazing and he plays Lestat perfectly,
Yeah. Yeah. The
perfectly.
right balance of
Oh my God, yeah.
so with your works,
Oh,
how is it that what influences did you draw in? Because some people are surprised when they like see Interview with a Vampire because it's not the, oh, you stake them and they burst to dust or whatever, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So there's all
Yeah,
kinds of iterations.
yeah.
So what parts of Anne's craft did you go, oh, I'll take a little bit of that and I'll sprinkle in
Well,
some of this, kind
I
of thing.
don't know because it wasn't a conscious thing, right?
Mm.
It's
Hmm.
just that I've always loved her vampires. Now I will say that the two vampire shorts that I wrote were for a call out from my publisher, and the theme was vampires who can survive in the sunlight.
mm,
Mm.
So that's different right there because it's a summer collection.
mm-hmm.
Do they sparkle?
So no, they don't sparkle.
Ew.
No,
All the
but
children are
yeah,
going to
they.
come for me with that.
That's right. But they live in a penthouse and they've got a rooftop pool and in one of them and then in the other one. So I wrote Bloodlines, which is a male one, a queer one with an established couple. One's a professor of Egyptology at the university, and the other one's his blood slave. But he's very much like I make sure to say that I can't remember the name of the young guy now. The young person who is non-binary, gender fluid, and I can't remember, and that's terrible. So it's yeah. Anyway,
It's like not remembering one of your children's names.
oh my God, I know. Sage. It's
There you go.
Sage.
There you go.
It's
Saved
Sage.
it. You
Okay,
saved it.
so very much Sage is there willingly and
Okay.
loves Benjamin so much that he can't leave, but they can't leave, and Benjamin uses them to sort of sustain himself, but he's not really going out killing people like vampires usually do, right? But then there's a young vampire in his Egyptology class, and he sees him because there's an aura that you can see around vampires in my iteration. And he's like, okay, I can see you. I know you're a new vampire. And then other students start disappearing from the class. And Benjamin, who is very much set in his ways, he's an elder vampire. He's been around for hundreds of years. And he's like, oh shit, this guy is going to blow our cover. And the other vampires are going to go get him because he's like being blatant.
Breaking the
And
rules, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So he's like, okay, he gets him to come to his office and explains. And then there's this whole sexual chemistry thing going on between them, of course. So there's like student, teacher, theme. There's Clove is the young upstart, and he thinks he can do what he wants, but Benjamin says, "Okay, look, you've got to." Anyway, it's all about that. And then Clove is introduced to Sage, and there's chemistry there. And Benjamin's like, "Oh my God, okay, what's going on?" And so basically, Clove disrupts the lives of these two, and sort of gets Benjamin to start living a better life, shall you say, as a vampire.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's funny because my kids say to me, "You won't watch serial killer stuff because you're too squeamish, but you love vampires." But to me, a vampire is a creature like a cougar or something, and they can't help that they need
You know,
prey.
I'll give you something. My granddaughter, when she was living with us, my daughter had, they were living with us, so we had an intergenerational house, and I ended up watching Dracula, Frank Langella's Dracula, with her, and
Okay.
she was
Yeah.
4 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And my husband has always said and maintained that children spark off of you and your reactions. So if you're not freaking out, they're not going to freak out, So
Right. Right.
when she got to the end of it, she just saw it as a very sad story that that woman
Oh.
and that man could not be together. And,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
all she took away from it, that
Right.
kind of gothic pathos, and I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, and that's, I think, when you say that about your kids, and about serial killers, she was never frightened of all the classic monsters, but
Right.
she did not like you, she did not like things that were rooted in the real world. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm good
Exactly.
with that. I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like if it's something, I can't watch mafia movies either. Like I just can't get into it because I know there's real violence going on in the world,
Right.
and I can't separate that enough.
Right.
But with
Right.
Mhm.
vampires, because they're completely fictional,
Right.
hopefully, and complete, supernatural, and I just think of them. So I would get very frustrated with Louis in the interview with the vampire that he wasn't accepted, just like Lestat, right? Like you need to kill to survive. Like that's
Right.
your
Right.
instinct.
Right.
You're like a cougar. You need
There's
to
no
do
such
it.
thing as a vegan vampire.
Exactly. Or a vegan cougar, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of like Benjamin. I mean, Benjamin's not really. I can't remember now again because I have so many books on the go and I'm right into my new series now and I'm 54 years old. I also have MS, which I didn't mention. So one of the things that pushed me to write what I write,
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 39, I guess, which is late, thank
Yeah.
goodness. And I'm doing very well, knock on wood. I'm on medication. But what prompted the diagnosis was I got something called useless hand syndrome.
Mm.
My hands, I could feel them and I could move them, but I couldn't coordinate them without looking at them.
Hmm.
And I had a 1.5-year-old child who, still needed to be lifted into his high chair, and my 4-year-old too. And it was really to have your hands not working properly for I guess it was probably a couple of months. And my parents actually had to come and cut the food up for my kids at lunch for 3 weeks because
Mm.
it would just take so much effort to do it myself, because it was
Mm.
like I was controlling them with like a puppet string or something,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
had
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
look
Mm-hmm.
to see that they were doing it right.
Mm.
So then when they recovered, and my neurologist said they will recover, you don't need, um, like he could have put me on prednisone, which would have made it recover faster, but he wanted to keep me off it. So he said they'll get better, and I trusted him, and they did. And then I was like, well, if I'm gonna write, who knows if that could happen again? Who
Mm.
knows when it could happen again? Who knows
Mm-hmm.
when anything, because this disease is so
Right. Right.
unpredictable,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, and then I wanted to find something that I could do at home, theoretically, and contribute to the family income. That was a little bit less fulfilled than I expected. You always think when you get published, I'll be making so much money, and I'm really not. I was actually making more money working part-time at Pet Value than I am now. But I quit that job when
I
the
hear you.
pandemic started. Yeah, yeah. Luckily, my husband makes really good money, and so far he's put up with me not making amazing money. So, but he very much supports me and my writing. So I'm very lucky
Awesome.
that he does.
So I normally ask what's up next later in the episode, but I actually want to talk about it now because you've promoted the cover already, and you've got a
Oh yes,
series. Yeah, you've got a series starting next year called Parlor Games.
yes. I'm
What can
very
you
excited. Very
what can you
excited.
tell us about it that won't spoil it for people?
Okay, so let me just preface it with, so I loved writing historical. I love writing historical.
Mm.
But my most popular series so far was the Braided Crop Ranch series, which is about a gay kink club in the Muskokas with very specific attributes. So it's pony play.
Mhm.
It's very kink positive, very sex positive. It's a safe place for people to do this. And
Mhm.
so the first book, which is Stable Hand, don't worry, this is all going to tie in.
I
Stable
trust
Hand.
you.
This is my most popular book,
Okay.
funnily enough, strangely enough. Um, and basically, it's about this guy from Alberta who thinks he's getting a job as an actual horse groomer and shows up.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise. He gets there's this mix up and he gets there and finds out it's actually for grooming human ponies. But luckily he's gay. Luckily he's not too freaked out by it, but he's definitely like, what the hell? And he's sort of got to decide, am I gonna stay and do this or am I gonna leave because I'm chicken? And he's like, nah, you know. So it's a very good way to for an introduction for people who may not have explored this before to see what's involved. And it's not like it's kinky, but it's not dark. It's
Mhm.
about people fulfilling themselves, fulfilling their kink sides. And then there's a romance between between two pony boys and the stable hand, who is the character who's on this kink discovery and sees
Mhm.
what it's all about. So it's kind of funny. Like somebody said they laughed so much like during the first part because it's hilarious. This guy's comes in and he's like a cowboy, right? He's from Alberta, so he's got a
Mhm.
cowboy hat, and all the pony boys are going like gaga for him, right? So it's very fun. It's a very fun book.
So
So
how's
anyway, so
yeah.
sorry, I should let you speak.
No, say how does that tie into parlor games then? You
Okay,
promised.
so yeah, so since that's my most popular series, and I've been told that historical doesn't sell usually all that well, although mine's done okay.
Mhm.
I thought, how can I get a historical ambiance into a contemporary series? So, and that's when I came up with Maverick Molly's, which is a gay kink club set in Ottawa, which is where I live, Ottawa, Canada.
Mhm.
And it's a kink club that kind of recreates the time in the Victorian days when being queer was against the law, basically, but people still found safe spaces to be themselves in. And Molly boys would wear like bloomers and corsets, and you know. So I thought, okay, so they have a gaming. There's a gaming parlor where gay men, part of the club, can come and play backgammon or cards, like very old fashioned. There's a piano, there's a little stage, fireplace, and but there's also a kink room in the back that people can rent if they want it. And there's furniture, there's sort of old fashioned furniture, kink stuff, there's modern stuff too. And so every book is going to focus on a different couple and a different romantic arc, but that club is going to feature, you know, in every book. And each book is titled after an actual Victorian parlor game.
Got it. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So
I love
it's sorry.
I would say I love the fact that you tied some historic fun into somebody who's then going to leave the club, put on their Apple Watch, and go hail an Uber.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. Because I love that ambiance. I would love to write a Victorian series, and
Hmm.
maybe I will someday, but I thought, you know what, let's try and see how I can do a contemporary. And it's a little easier too, because you don't have to research as much.
Right,
But
right.
and then also the servers. So the servers at Maverick Molly's are servers slash entertainers. There's no sex work, not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's
Hmm.
not what it's about.
Hmm.
And they do little burlesque skits on the stage and tell body jokes, like dirty jokes, and it's very fun too. So
Love it.
yeah.
Love it. Love it.
So the first one is called Are You There, Moriarty? And that's coming out February 20th. Forfeits is coming out May 7th, and The Laughing Game is coming out July 23rd.
Awesome. And folks who want to pick up either A Port Essington Christmas or pre-order Moriarty games can do both at Amazon, right? I think I saw that.
Yeah, yeah, Amazon, any major book retailer. My books
Okay.
are wide, so
Nice. And they can
yeah,
also
I
springboard
wish.
off your site.
Sorry.
And they can also springboard off your site.
Yes, aelister.com is my main website. I'm always redesigning it. So if you show up there once and then come again and it looks different, that's because I'm always redesigning it.
You're the anti-meme of web design.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't stop myself. I just love changing things up and
Love it.
yeah.
Are you ready for our get to know you questions?
Okay, yes. Now let me just get my notes here.
She pulls up, they pull
Yeah,
up their
yeah,
notes. Oh my God.
exactly. Oh my God, I had to think about these. That's hard. One word? Like how?
Well,
We
we've
do
told
allow
people you can
hyphenation.
multi-hyphenate. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Take it away,
All right.
guys.
Well, in this year of wow, what one word describes your favorite food?
Pizza.
Yeah, it's the
That's
most.
the easy one. That was
Yeah,
the easy
right,
one.
right. And with the way that things are going, you get Mexican pizza, you can have Asian pizza,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, your favorite entertainment genre?
Movies,
Okay,
I guess.
okay.
I was torn with, is books an entertainment genre?
Uh,
Literature.
Movies is
it's
more,
literature,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
because obviously I love reading, but I don't have as much time to read because I'm writing so much.
Right,
So
right. Yeah.
movies, yeah.
All right. Well, where are you in the spectrum of mundane versus magical?
I like to find the magical in the mundane.
Oh, well said.
Thank
Very
you
well
very
said.
much.
All right. Your preferred level of PDA?
So I'm always kissing my husband in public, basically to show off, and it makes him embarrassed. So I kind of like that. But yeah, it's basically to say he's mine, stay away.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. The environment where you relax the most.
Bathtub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
With candles
sometimes
or
like
without?
no candles, no. It's very quick too, like I'm in, I'm out. But it honestly, like if I'm really stressed, that's where I go, and 15 minutes and I'm just so much more relaxed.
There is
Yeah.
a fail army that I saw of a romantic couple with lighted candles and rose petals and stuff. And at one point, they're toasting, and she leans back, and her hair catches
Well,
fire, and the
that's
husband freaks out, and
that's
all
it.
hell
That's it.
ensues.
I don't have the patience for candles. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, exactly. Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Oh, look, you've got a new haircut.
yeah, exactly. I use artificial candles actually down here
Well,
because
there
I'm
you go.
so
There you go.
paranoid.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
All right. Your preferred beverage?
Coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on the scale of youthful naivete versus the wisdom of experience?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I think I'll probably always be a little naive, but I'm about equal at this point because I have lived quite a long time, and and I do feel experienced. And also, the best thing about getting older is not even more not giving a fuck what people think.
No,
Like
yeah,
I
there
couldn't
you
care
go.
less at this point. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm like,
yeah,
child, I have no patience.
exactly.
You go do
Yeah,
that over there.
yeah.
All right. Your favorite fictional character?
Oh, now that was a hard one. So I've got from like highbrow literature would be Jane Eyre.
Okay.
Ooh.
I did not read that book for a long time because all I'd heard was that it was about some frumpy governess, and I don't want to read that. She is the most kick-ass feminist character, and the way she disparages religion, organized religion
Mm-hmm.
in those books, I loved it. So she's amazing. And then in sort of the modern books that I've read over the last couple of years, it would be Arden St. Ives from How to Bang a Billionaire by Alexis Hall.
Oh, okay. I've
I
seen
love
that book.
that character. I love that character so much.
Excellent. All right. Well, your favorite mode of travel?
Anything but an airplane.
Oh, okay.
On the
Train or
ground,
car.
please. On the
Train or
ground,
car.
please.
Yep.
Awesome.
Bicycle, penny farthing.
Oh, maybe not a bicycle. I'm too scared I'm gonna crash and kill
I
myself.
see
Yeah.
those penny farthings from like the Victorian era. I'm like, why? Why
I
would
know.
you do
I know, it's true. Oh my God.
Oh well, you made it through
Oh,
the
is that
list.
the last?
Bravo.
That's the
That
last
was
Yeah,
it.
that's the
question.
last one. You made
Woo!
it through
You
the
made
list.
it.
Yay.
Excellent, excellent.
So, Parlor Games is coming out. Do you have anything else you want to announce to folks?
I do have a young adult, so I have another young adult. Actually, I should show my first one. So this one is so I've written two young adults for Lorimer, and it's been an amazing experience and very cool. But my heart is really with my adult stuff. So I think the second book that I have coming out with them this spring is going to be the last.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited about it too. It's set in Liverpool, Nova Scotia, which
Well, you can
is
always
where
do new
my
adult too. There's that part of the
yeah,
genre.
actually that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I write. So yeah, I
Okay.
that
Yeah,
allows
yeah.
you the freedom to be a
A little bit
little
more
bit.
freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know when I wrote No Limit on Love, my editor had to sort of say, okay, you got to tone it down in a couple of places. I mean, I have teenage kids and they know what's going on.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I was like,
well,
I
yeah,
can
that's the
write
other
that.
side of the coin there too, that nobody wants to talk about what we all know exists.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, this is more like erotic. And I'm like, okay, pull back. Yeah, so anyway, it's set in Liverpool, Nova Scotia, which is where my mom grew up, and we used to vacation there, and it's a gorgeous little town on the south coast of Nova Scotia. um, and it's about a transmasc person who meets a non-binary person in the same resort that they're staying at on Somerville Beach.
Very
So
cool.
I don't have a tentative release date or even for that. Lorimer is a great publisher. They're very old fashioned, so they work very slowly. But yeah, so I don't have a date, but sometime this spring.
Very old fashioned, but now you're the second author in like 2 months who has worked with them that we've talked to. And in both cases, it sounds like Laura Moore is trying really hard to reach new audiences, like
Well,
honest,
absolutely.
genuine audiences. And for that, I want to give them full credit.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And these books are in school libraries. And
Hmm.
Nathan and I actually went and presented at my younger child's high school.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. There was a full house in, well, not to the whole high school, but to the drama class. But
Hmm.
the room was full and people were so receptive. And we need more of these books. They're taking some out
Yeah,
in some places.
they want to
So
be seen.
Yeah,
yeah,
precisely.
exactly. Oh, and then it was interesting too because the the teacher who arranged for us to come said it's really important for the kids to see older queer people, right? And I thought
Hmm.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, yeah. We need role models of
Yeah.
all ages.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I know we dropped your website earlier, aelister.com. People can also find you on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Anything else you want people to know that I didn't think to ask?
I can't think of anything except that I am reviewing the AMC Interview with the Vampire show at my blog on my
Hmm.
website, like in detail. So there's major spoilers,
Yep.
and it's basically like fangirling over, Lestat, but no,
As
not
one is
always.
wont to do, you know.
Yeah, but also like I pull quotes in each one because I think the writing of the script was fantastic too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's just
the
bang
adaptation is
on,
beautiful. Yeah.
Hmm.
bang on. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Oh, and I
Well,
guess actually thinking of
yes.
that too, I'm going to be part of a fanzine actually. It's called the the Théâtre des Vampires fanzine, which is in
Uh-huh.
production right now, and it's supposed to come out next year. And I'm writing a piece with Lestat and an original character. I have written it, and there's going to be all kinds of contributors with artworks and other writing, and we are raising money for two charities, and I should have written that down. I think Doctors Without Borders is one, and then there's a queer charity as well, which I can't think of at the moment. But I'll be publicizing all that
And you'll
on the
be putting it on your
socials.
website so people can find that out
Exactly,
there. Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Excellent.
But that's very fun.
Awesome.
I'm really glad I signed up for that.
That is really cool. And
I
a
heard
great
to learn how to be on Discord, but it's worth it.
Oh, the
The
children
group
and their
song.
toys.
I know. Like, how do I do this? I'm managing.
Awesome. All right. Well, any final words of wisdom?
Well, I mean, I guess about writing. Do it if you want to do it, and do it despite everything you think of that could stop you. You may not make a lot of money, but it's a lot of fun, and just having your books read is amazing for an author. And as for people and queer people, be who you are, whether you come out or not. It doesn't matter. Like if you feel like you have to hide your true self in some ways, that's okay too. But be true to your heart and love the person you want to love and be who you are.
Mhm. All right, folks, we'd like to extend a huge thank you to A.E. Lister for joining us. Alison, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. This was super fun.
Our pleasure. We at Written on the Edge are proud to introduce you to new media by queer content creators, so if you enjoy learning about new artists or hearing our thoughts on entertainment media, please like and subscribe so you get the alerts for new episodes. The show was produced by Rogue Ravens Media. For our disclaimers, links to social media, our listen stations, or to sign up as a guest, visit www.ropepodcast.com. Tune in next week for your queer media fix.
Bye.
closing time. The bums rush in melody, dear.